The Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus are undeniable hits for Samsung this year, but ever since the Note 7 went away, there's been a void at the top of its lineup. But that void is filled today with the Galaxy Note 8. Now, it's convenient to look at the Galaxy S8 Plus from just 6 months ago and think that the Galaxy Note 8 looks exactly like it. But we should remember that many of these design elements were actually initially introduced with the Note 7 last year. The symmetrical, tightly curved glass on the front and back, the tiny bezels, and the color-matched metal frame are continuations from 2016's Note, and they still feel plenty modern here today. Samsung's hardware design still remains fresh and beautiful, if a bit fragile when you consider just how much of the exterior is unprotected glass. The Note 8 has of course adopted the tall and skinny proportions of this year's phones, which is at once fantastic for grip on such a large device, but also pushing to absurd proportions with a 6.3-inch display. It's nearly a centimeter taller than the Note 7 was, while also being wider and thicker, and surprisingly it's 15% heavier. Yes, the bezels are even smaller around the screen, but holy cow, this is a really big phone. Your reward for wielding that big plate of metal and glass is what continues to be an industry-leading Quad HD Super AMOLED screen. The competition gets close nowadays, but it still can't match its quality in every metric. The Note 8 simply matches the industry with its internal specs, offering the same processor and storage as the Galaxy S8 Plus, but with a RAM bump to 6GB and also a battery drop to 3300 mAh to make room for the S Pen. The only complaint you could have here is with Samsung's storage choice, sticking with just 64GB in a phone that's approaching $1,000. Okay, I take that back. Forget about the storage. The one complaint you should have is the fingerprint sensor placement. It's still up near the top of the back of the phone, right next to the cameras. It's a stretch to reach, and there's just no natural or graceful way to use it. Iris scanning helps mitigate the hassle, but the reality is you still need to use that fingerprint sensor every single day for apps that require it. This is the single area where you could say Samsung made a mistake with the Note 8's hardware. This isn't opinion, it's objectively a bad fingerprint sensor placement. Much of Samsung's messaging around the Galaxy Note 8 will center around its all-new camera capabilities. Its main camera remains unchanged from the Galaxy S8's great 12-megapixel sensor, but right next to it you have another 12-megapixel camera with a longer telephoto-like lens to offer advanced capabilities. At its core, we've seen this recipe before. The long lens offers you a seamless hop to a zoomed-in shot with no loss in resolution, and the two cameras together can partner up to take advanced photos that read the scene and offer professional-looking blurred backgrounds. The shooting mode is called Live Focus, and it lets you select a point you want to be in focus and blur out everything else in the background. The camera app actually shows you a live preview of what the blur will look like, and it even lets you adjust the intensity after the fact in the gallery. You can also have the camera capture a standard wide-angle photo at the same time, so you never lose out on the moment. Where the Note 8's telephoto camera goes beyond the competition is by adding optical image stabilization. Physical stabilization is critical for a longer focal length that exaggerates hand movements, and particularly in low-light scenes where it will let the telephoto lens continue to be effective, whereas phones like the iPhone 7 Plus simply switch back to the standard camera at night. The Note 8 has an entirely familiar software experience to the Android Nougat build that you'll find on a Galaxy S7 or S8 today, with a handful of subtle tweaks including a new simplified way to launch pairs of apps into multi-window mode. The Note line has never been one to introduce sweeping interface changes. That's typically left to the Galaxy S phones, but it really feels like Samsung's happy with where its software stands right now. You'll find plenty of people who just can't stand the number of superfluous features and changes in Samsung's software, but the truth is the market has spoken. On the whole, they like Samsung software. Could it be sleeker, lighter, and a bit less heavy-handed? Absolutely, but software just isn't a core shortcoming of Samsung phones anymore in the same way that it still is for other companies. Samsung's S Pen has picked up where it left off with the Note 7, offering 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity through a 0.7mm tip into a suite of customized software. The Screen Off memo feature that lets you take notes right onto the lock screen as soon as you remove the stylus remains one of the best uses for the S Pen, but it also gives you precise control over annotating screenshots, signing PDFs, taking quick scribbled notes, and even doing a little bit of artistic drawing on the side. The rest of the industry has ceded the smartphone with stylus market to Samsung, and it's for good reason. This is just downright the best experience for someone who wants a portable device with a digital stylus, and it has been for years now. Samsung says that consumer surveys show perception of the Galaxy Note brand is just as positive today as it was before the Note 7 was recalled. If that truly is the case, and the general public is ready to buy something called a Galaxy Note again, the Note 8 has everything it needs to sell in amazing numbers. Despite its dramatic similarities to the Galaxy S8 Plus, the Note 8 will still be a lust-worthy phone for those who want just a little bit extra on their phone. If you want the extra capabilities of a stylus, this is basically your only choice. But it will also offer you one of the most capable cameras in the market, as well as one of the biggest screens available. But most importantly, for those drawn to any Galaxy phone, the Note 8 has every single feature Samsung has popularized and driven into the market over the past 3 years. Top-level specs, stunning design, and an industry-leading display are backed up by waterproofing, wireless charging, and an increasingly rare headphone jack. Seriously, what more could you ask for in a single device? The Galaxy Note 8 has it all, and Samsung knows it. This is a proper flagship, set to be one of the best phones available for the next year, through and through. So that's it for now on the Galaxy Note 8, but as we spend more time with this excellent device, you can catch all of our videos here on YouTube and all of our articles over on AndroidCentral.com.